Hi, this is Chase from Basecamp Adventure Fitness, and today we're out in the Diagula National Park in southeast Queensland doing some walking. Today we're going to talk about trekking pole technique, when to use them, why you should use them, and exactly how to use them. The aim of trekking poles is to enhance your trekking experience by improving your posture, decreasing the stress of a heavy pack on your back, to increase your speed and efficiency, and to aid you in crossing difficult terrain safely. Now, when used correctly, trekking poles can save you plenty of time and energy, which will add to the enjoyment of your trek. However, when used incorrectly, like this, they're not only add dead weight to carry, but they can actually make you less efficient. So it's important to understand how to use them properly. And before you use them, you have to set them up properly. Now, depending on the kind of pole that you might have a telescopic pole like this one, or a Z-pole like the one shown in my right hand there. And they can be adjusted either by a flick lock or a twisting mechanism on the outside of the pole. Now, you want that height to be interchangeable based on whether you're going uphill or downhill. But generally on the flat, you want to have a right angle in your elbow, as shown here. Plus or minus 5 degrees is okay. As you get used to your poles, you'll begin to know what height you like that to be on the flat and what height you need it to be at when you're going uphill. Generally, you're going uphill, you'd want it 5 to 8 centimeters lower than you would going on a flat, and that's because there's less distance between your hand and the ground when you're going uphill. Here's an example of a walker who hasn't adjusted her pole height according to the slope. As you can see, her poles are set quite long, which means she really has to lift her arms up to make contact with the ground. This drives the elbows outwards, tiring the upper body. This is not the desired effect. On the other hand, with your pole height set correctly, walking with poles will leave your posture upright, giving you long, rhythmic strides. This makes big days on the trail feel effortless and natural, which at the end of the day means much more enjoyable hiking. Here's an example of what not to do. In the military, this is called square gating. As you can see, the left foot and the left hand are moving at the same time. Also, as you can see, the pole is being placed at right angles to the ground. This doesn't provide any forward propulsion at all. One of the most important features of a trekking pole is the wrist strap. So make sure you buy a pole with a comfortable padded strap. Now, a common mistake made by trekkers is to slide the wrist down into the wrist strap shown here. This actually is incorrect and it defeats the real purpose of the strap, which is to aid you in your forward propulsion without having a death grip on the handle the whole time. This is the correct way to do it, by placing your hand up through the strap and then grasping the handle. This allows you to let go of the handle completely and still have control. Now, when walking with your poles, you want to keep the poles on an angle, and it's about a 70-degree angle to the ground depending on your slope. So rather than just walking straight and plonking the poles straight down into the ground, what we're going to do is lean forward slightly with the poles, and that's going to give us some forward propulsion. So moving with the opposite leg and the opposite hand, the pole is going to drive into the ground, and what that does is take a little bit of weight off every step that you take. Now, it may not seem like much, but if you're walking 100 kilometres like we are in a couple of weeks, that can add up to quite a lot. Here's a slow motion example of good trekking pole technique. You can see that both the feet and the pole make contact with the ground at the same time. The left hand is moving in conjunction with the right foot and vice versa. We want to be leaning forward slightly to give us forward propulsion. We're planting the carbide tip down into the ground on that 70-degree angle. At the end of the day, you choose when to use your poles and when not to use them. But on seriously vertical slopes that require scrambling or the use of your hands, trekking poles should always be stowed for safety. More often than not, your uphill technique should involve having your hands gripping your poles, not your thighs. Happy trekking, guys. For more information on preparing for adventures on foot, visit Basecamp Fit